Hello and welcome back to your favourite YouTube cookery series. Yeah, I realise it's been quite some time since I filmed the last episode. I think the last episode I actually did was back in August maybe. So I'm obviously a bit behind. I realise there's been an entire new series of Bake Off since then with extra technical challenges. We're just going to ignore those for now because I've got quite enough. I think I've still got something like 80 challenges to work through. This is episode 11, which, if you remember, is the raspberry blancmange with langue de chat biscuits, which I'm really not particularly looking forward to, only because blancmange kind of reminds me of, I don't know why in my head I just have it, it reminds me of like Teletubby custard. It's just like this pink wobbly thing at school, and I'm not massively into that. I don't really like that kind of texture, but hey, it's on the list. I should just learn to throw darts better and then I wouldn't have to do it. Finally getting around to it. I'm going to try a slightly new format today. Not that it's very interesting for anyone, but I'll say it anyway. I'm aware that I talk quite a lot and there's a lot of kind of static moments. So this is a very bitty kind of recipe and there's lots of little things to do and lots of stopping and starting. So I'm going to try and just do this little intro now. I say little. Hopefully fairly short intro. Talk you through it. And then I'll try and do a voiceover as I go along, just to hopefully make it all move a bit smoother and be less kind of stop-start. So we'll see, it might be good, it might be rubbish. Let me know what you think, or don't, if you're going to watch it. I also, staying true to form, don't quite have all the ingredients I should have, so I'm just going to make it up a bit. For this recipe, I needed 750 grams of raspberries, and it's not raspberry season, and yes, I can buy them from the supermarket, but I don't think they're very good at the minute. They're also very, very expensive for fresh raspberries. For the amount that I would need, I didn't really want to pay like 10 quid for not very good supermarket raspberries. So I'm actually using an assortment of frozen fruit that I had in the freezer. So it's the right weight, so it's a mixture of kind of raspberries, blackberries, some currants in there, so yeah, we're just going to go with it. It'll look the right colour anyway. We've got some gelatin soaking, obviously to make it all set and wobbly. Sugar, corn flour, almonds. I'll probably put up a little list of all the stuff. I also needed raspberry liqueur, don't have that, so I'm using Kirsch because I had that in the cupboard. I'm obviously not really buying liqueurs anymore. Yeah, so I think I'm just going to crack on with it and I'll chat you through it as I go. Hopefully that works. Who knows, we can but try. Welcome back, hopefully it's a laugh. Well, it'll be a laugh at me anyway, if nothing else. Let's get to it. Alright, this is my first voiceover, so hopefully you can hear me alright. So here you can see me pouring those lovely sloppy fruits into the blender there. I've got to blitz those up till they're nice and smooth, that's all it says. It says blitz to a fine puree, and then I'm going to pass them through a sieve, which you'll see is easier said than done. I thought this was going to be fairly simple. You can probably tell by the look on my face, it's going to end up taking longer than I thought, but we need to press it through a sieve basically just to get all the seeds out because we don't want any seeds in the blancmange, which I actually find a bit ironic because she puts ground almonds in, which makes it all bitty anyway. Yep, you can see there I'm not having the best time getting through there. It did take me quite a while, so let's jump on ahead. So once I got that done, set it all to one side. The next thing is I've got to mix together some milk and corn flour in a pan. As you can see, I'm going to struggle more than I really should to get the corn flour out of the glass there. I did start off by just doing a little bit of milk with the corn flour initially, then I added all the milk in. My milk is in a pint of Guinness glass, for reasons I don't really know. It wasn't a very good pouring vessel. So I mixed all that together, let that thicken slightly, then I added in some sugar and some ground almonds, and then the instructions were to bring to a boil, reduce and simmer for 3 to 5 minutes until it thickened. I wasn't really sure how thick it needed to be, but I guess it needs to be quite set, so yeah, I just let that boil out for a little bit once everything was in. It kind of went from being not very thick to really thick quite quickly, which is why I'm kind of staring in a really puzzled way into the pan. Once I've done that, the next thing I need to do is get the gelatin leaves that have been soaking. I'm going to squeeze them out using my muscles because I'm stacked, and I'm going to pop them into the pan and just let them dissolve in, which is what's going to give our blancmange its lovely wobble. So the gelatine's all in, that's all dissolved. Next thing, I'm going to put in some almond extract. It said a teaspoon, which really seemed like a lot, and I gave it a quick smell, and as you can tell, it was a little more overpowering than I anticipated, but you know, it's what Prue Leith says, so we'll go with it. And then the final thing I needed to do before I add the puree back in is put in a load of double cream and mix all that in. Once that's all incorporated, then I'm going to get that puree that I made before, and we're going to add that back to the pan. This actually took ages to mix it all in evenly, so thankfully I will spare you all that ordeal. Once that's all mixed in together, we're going to get the mould that I have pre-prepared, and when I say pre-prepared, I have taken it off the shelf, and we have to pour it into the mould. And here you will see that I've just noticed that I didn't put in my raspberry liqueur, or in this case, kirsch. I should have put it in much earlier to cook it out, but I decided, never mind, I'll just chuck some in, what could possibly go wrong? Yeah, so I just eyeballed it. I don't even know how much was meant to go in, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Now I'm just pouring it all into the mould, trying to make it look far more artistic than it needs to be. It's just me pouring some kind of sloppy pink liquid, like I said, tubby custard, into a mould. And then she says to tap it a few times just to get any air bubbles out, which I'll do here, little tap tap tap. And then yeah, he's off into the fridge for 6 hours to set, and I cannot wait. So while that's setting in the fridge, it's time to make the biscuits. So first I'm just starting off with some softened butter and some icing sugar going into the mixer there. Gonna mix that all together, get it nice and light and fluffy. Then a little bit more almond extract, I don't know why, she really likes the almond extract. Last thing I'm going to do is whisk some egg whites with a fork and stick them in. This did not go very well, it curdled, which I kind of thought it would, but you know, stuck to the instructions. So after I'd given that a little mix for a while, the last thing I needed to do was fold in some flour, so I actually mixed it with a little bit of flour first just to kind of bring it together, then folded the final bit of flour in. Once again, struggling to get flour out of the glass, that tap did absolutely nothing to help the situation. Once that's all mixed together, it's all going to go into a piping bag and I'm going to pipe it onto a baking tray. So of course there was maths involved in the piping. She said that there had to be 12 fingers, 8 centimetres long. There was not enough for 12 fingers, she lied, despite the fact that I used a piece of greaseproof paper to measure 8 centimetres. And I thought I'd get extra fancy with the camera angles, so here's a little shot of the biscuits going into the oven. Of course, despite me leaving a gap between them, they've obviously decided to all bake together, so I did cut them apart after this. So now for decoration, here's a little clip of some chocolate melting, or not melting as I discovered, come back to that. So there it is, it's all melted. Now it just says I have to dip them in chocolate. This was supposed to be green cocoa butter but didn't have any, so it's white chocolate. I wasn't really sure what technique to use, but this was not the one because I forgot about the steam that would come out of the other side of the pan because I'm an idiot. There's me burning my hand. There's one done. Let's just get these done with some sort of chocolate on them, and hopefully they'll look slightly less horrific. So here we are, time for the big reveal. It's all set, it's been in the fridge for about 6 hours and actually doesn't look too bad. Now Prue says to give it a quick dip in some boiling water to release it from the mould, so that's what I thought I was doing. Turns out we have different interpretations of what quick dip means, as you will see. Yeah, it did not need to be in there for this long, so I was expecting it to come out looking all nice, kind of nice clean lines. I was like, I've absolutely smashed this. Yeah, so here's me. I'm going to really delicately flip that over with such poise and control. There we go. Such an artist. And look at this bad boy. Yes. Oh dear. Obviously I completely misinterpreted what a quick dip in boiling water was, and so the next thing I thought to do was try and push it back on the plate with a spoon. Don't know why I thought that would work. It didn't. So there we have it. I don't think I've ever wanted to eat something less. And this is the finished product. I don't know why the biscuits were made with the blancmange. They don't seem to work together at all. There isn't even a picture of them together online, so I'm not entirely sure why they were both done together. Doesn't that look absolutely revolting? It does look like tubby custard, just as I thought. The biscuits, well, yeah, I don't really know. Here's me gonna have a taste, even though I really didn't want to. It is very, very wobbly, and yeah, I was not looking forward to this. I do not like foods with that kind of smooth texture, and as you can tell by the look on my face, I am having the best time. It tasted quite sweet, really almondy to be expected, had that awful wobble on it. Other than that, I can see absolutely no reason as to why you would make a blancmange or eat a blancmange. I was more excited about the biscuits, but they also turned out to be a bit of a letdown. A really weird texture, just like a cake that's gone wrong. I think we can call that an absolute roaring success, so do join me next time for rum barber, which I'm quite excited about. See you then.